Hey guys, and welcome. I am Tina Service, and this is a free class that I wish existed when I started my cleaning business over 19 years ago. So, this is going to be a no fluff, no filler, just the real blueprint for building a remote cleaning business from scratch. You're not going to need any mops, you're not going to need any employees, you're not going to need any vehicles or supplies. So I've been running this model for over 19 years across 4 different markets now. And today I'm going to lay out the entire full framework for you completely free. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how this business works, what the money looks like, and what your first 30 days should look like. Let's get into it. Okay, so real quick, who am I and why should you listen to me? My name is Tina Service, and I own a company called Made for Time. And I've been operating the referral model remotely across Orlando, Tampa, Florida, Rochester, and Buffalo, New York simultaneously for over 19 years with no employees, no company vehicles. It's a pure 1099 independent contractor model. I didn't learn this from a course. I built it from scratch with a lot of heartache, a lot of challenges, a lot of frustrations. I didn't know how to price. I didn't know how to pay my cleaners. I didn't know how to get them to show up. I didn't know how to get them to stop them from calling in. But what I did do over this time period is I figured out what works and what doesn't work and what actually scales my business, right? So now I teach other people to do the same thing through Remote Cleaning Boss. I'm not a guru who ended up building something once and now just sells courses about it. I'm actively in this business right now, and that matters. Okay, so let's talk about why cleaning. So honestly, it's kind of boring, and that's exactly why I love it. Here's what most people overlook. Cleaning is recurring. I'm going to say recurring a million times in here. Your clients don't pay you once, they pay you every single work week or every 2 weeks automatically. And that changes everything about how this business feels. It's also recession proof. I went through the crash in 2008, and I also went through COVID in 2020. It's not a luxury, it's a need. So even when you start to think that things are shifting because of AI now, I'm here to tell you that even with AI, people are still going to need cleaning service. So don't be afraid of that. And the best part, it's fully remote. You can literally work from anywhere. My team coordinates, they book, they grow the business all from their laptops. 3 of them are in the Philippines and 1 is Connecticut, and I'm in Florida. My cleaners handle the physical work and I handle the business. Nobody talks about cleaning because it's not glamorous. That's exactly why this competition is beatable. All right. So let me show you a little bit about the math because this is where most people's eyes light up. Now, take a look at this screen here. And if you look at the curve, you can see in month 1, you may be making around $800 a month. But by month 3, you're over 4K. Okay, $4,000 is a lot of money. And by month number 6, you can be at $12,000 easily. And that's not because you're working 6 times harder, because the clients who closed in month 1 are still paying you. That's called recurring revenue. Every new client you add stacks on top of what you've already have. One recurrent client at biweekly cadence is roughly $320 a month. Clients is at $3,200. 30 clients is going to get you closer to 10K, and 40 clients is going to get you very close to 13,000, all from working from your phone or your laptop. All right, the math is simple. The execution is what I'm going to help you with. All right, now let's talk about some interesting stuff that happens when you start to compound. If you zoom in and take a look at the bigger picture, this is what happens when clients stay. Every client you choose isn't just one transaction, it's a revenue stream. Look at those 4 lines. 1 client, 5 clients, 10, 20, over 12 months, they just keep climbing, okay? The average client in a healthy cleaning operation stays 14 months or more. I have clients that have been with me for 15, 16 years. That means 1 client you close today is worth over $4,400 before they ever leave. That's amazing. And you don't have to do much more work. You already closed them. This is why I say retention is more important than acquisition. You don't need 100 new clients every month. You need to keep the ones you have. And I'll show you how you do that, exactly how to do it inside of the blueprint. Okay, so let me show you what's possible. Now, I want you to see this. You got three lines here, three different paths. The gray line, that's a side income. That's a side hustle job, right? You can make $2,000 to $4,000 a month with a few clients, some part-time effort, but real money on the side of whatever you're doing now. Who doesn't need an extra 4 grand a month, even two? The gold line, all right, this one here, that's replacing your full-time job, $6,000 to $8,000 a month. I said it, probably more than what you're making in your job. This is where a lot of my students are aiming when they first get started with me. And the green line, that's your scale number. This is scale mode. You're going to take it to 10K and beyond, full business, multiple channels running, business to business accounts locked in. All three of these are built on the exact same model. The only difference is how far you take it. So I want you to ask yourself right now, which line do you want to be on? Because that decision starts with what you learned today. All right. So let's talk about what the difference or what remote actually means. All right. So what does having a remote cleaning business really mean? So just to make sure we're on the same page, because I get this question a lot, you are the owner of the remote cleaning business. You book the clients, you schedule the cleaners, you handle the customer service, you monitor quality through photos and reviews, you collect the payments, and you run the marketing. Your independent contractors, they're the ones that are going to show up and clean. They drive themselves. They bring their own supplies. They send you completed photos. They sign on as independent contractors, not employees. You are the brain. They are the hands. You never need to meet them in person. And in many cases, you never even need to meet them in the same city. That's the model, simple on the surface, and there's a right way to set it up legally and operationally, which I cover in detail in the blueprint. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about mind shift here before we get into the actual business model itself. All right, so you are definitely taking your brain from being an employer brain to being an owner, remote cleaning business owner. Okay, so it's not the market. It's not the competition. It's how you think about this business. So look at this table. And when you see that a problem arises, this is typically how an employee or an employer brain is going to work. And then this is how your remote cleaning operator brain is going to work. It truly is a shift in how you're thinking. All right. So when a cleaner does a no-show, an employee brain kind of panics and cancels the job. An owner brain is going to say, what system prevents this from happening again? Okay. When a cleaner does a no-show, when a client complains, an employee brain apologizes and discounts. An owner brain is going to respond fast. They're going to rebook and they're going to retain their client. This shift is everything. And it's not just a mindset pep talk. It's about building real systems that make owner brain your automatic response. That's what the blueprint walks you through. All right. So let's talk about some real results here. I started with $0 and a phone, and I had Craigslist, and I had my equipment that I had at my house, which was a vacuum cleaner, a broom, a mop, all those things. Same thing you have in your house right now. No investors, no money, nothing. I was a single mom with 2 kids and a child that had a heroin addiction. And they were young. They were 7 and 12. So I built this across 4 different markets, and I'm still running it today. And then there's a coaching student of mine out in Colorado, which is over here. When he came to me last year, his business was losing $6,000 a month, bleeding. And he had been doing this for 3.5 years. So he'd been beaten up for 3.5 years, not making any money. He had the operation, but he did not have the model. So we plugged him into the remote framework. We fixed the structure for him and got him running it like an owner instead of an operator. In under 120 days, he went from losing $6,000 a month to making $8,000 a month plus. And now he's positioned to sell that business in the mid $200,000 range. So from losing money year after year, month after month, to now selling it for 6 figures plus, which is a win for him. Okay. So let's get into the nitty gritty and how are you going to find some clients and stuff like that. Now that I've given you some background on what a remote referral cleaning business is and what that looks like, let's talk about how you're going to get clients. All right, because this is where most cleaning businesses go wrong. They rely on one thing and hope. Hope is not any word that you want in your category, your vocabulary. Okay, so you're going to run into three channels. Channel number one is Google. Your Google business profile, your local service ads, your SEO, and your review strategy. Okay, so this is where people who are already ready to book are going to find you. Channel number two is going to be your referrals, a simple client referral program, neighbor to neighbor, word of mouth, zero cost, highest trust. This is the channel that compounds quietly in the background. And literally, you can start with your friends and family. You start with the people that you know, and you start offering cleaning, even if it's at a discounted rate. Offer the cleaning to your friends and family first. Channel number three, once you got some experience under your belt, maybe some confidence, you're going to start working with property managers, Airbnb hosts, apartment communities. And I'm going to talk more about this in a minute, but this is the channel that most coaches completely ignore. And it's one of my most personal favorites because I've built relationships over the past 19 years that are still helping me and my coaching clients get business today. Inside the blueprint, I give you the exact scripts, the sequence, and the tools for all three of these. All right, so let's take a quick peek at your 30-day roadmap. All right, so in week one, I call it the foundation. You're setting up your LLC or your DBA, you're opening up a business bank account, you're going to choose your market, and you're going to lock in your pricing model. Okay, so you kind of got to have these things done. Shouldn't take you too long. You got to go to your local websites and file your business. Look at my other YouTube videos. I show you exactly how to do all of this in those other videos. Week number two is going to be building your business profile, your Google business profile. That is going to take a little bit of time on your side because you need to verify some information with Google. You need to show them that you have insurance. You're going to get your booking system set up, and it's okay if you just use a Google Calendar for now. You don't need anything fancy. And then you're going to make sure your contracting hiring funnel is up and running, all right? Because you're going to need cleaners to go do it unless you plan on starting yourself. Either one, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, so week number three is going to be your launch. Activate your first marketing channel. You're going to start outreach and you're going to begin interviewing cleaners and get your scripts ready. Okay, so again, this activate marketing is going to be your friends and family. Let's start there. Let's start with realtors that you might know. Let's go to some networking events. Let's start telling people that you actually have a cleaning company. Week number four is where it's going to get real. You're going to close your first client. You're going to complete your first clean. You're going to collect your very first review, and you're going to start your second channel. I love it. All right. So now the execution of each of these steps, the exact tools, the scripts, the legal setup, that's what's inside the blueprint. This is just the map. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. I'll add a link here for you so you can go and check it out. Okay, let's keep going. So this is right. I want to spend a few minutes on this because it's really important and it's one of the biggest levers in my business. And when I mean biggest levers, I mean this is where the majority of my business comes from. I don't advertise. I have not advertised. The only okay, that's a lie. I advertise. I do LSA, local service ads, which you almost have to, right? But outside of that, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok. I don't do any advertising at all. And I haven't done it in 19 years. Okay. So this is where my relationships began. This is where they still are. And this is what we do still today. So think about this. One property manager can control 50 to 200 units. That's not a customer. That's an account. One relationship can be worth more than 30 individual residential clients combined. All right. So think about that for a second. Now, let's talk about Airbnb hosts. With 5 properties, they all need turnover cleaning at every single checkout, multiple times a week, every single week. That's what that's going to get you. It's not going to get you one single cleaning. It's going to get you a lot of cleanings. I've been landing and keeping B2B accounts across my markets for years. I know how to find them, what to say, and how to structure the deal so it works both sides. Again, all inside of my blueprint. All right, let's talk about hiring. Okay, this will be by far your most challenging part. Not going to lie about it. I think a lot of coaches will tell you that you just got to go find cleaners and you're ready to go. Finding the human being to do the work is going to be the biggest challenge for you. However, you have to do it, right? So I didn't say this is passive income. I didn't say this is easy, going to make money overnight. This is truly going to be your most difficult part, but it can be done. So this 1099 independent contractor model is the legal backbone of everything I teach. So here's how the funnel works, okay, for recruiting. You're going to post your job listings on Facebook, Indeed, Craigslist, Nextdoor, any place you want to market, right? Even on, I get a lot of people from my own Facebook page and a ton of them from Facebook groups. You're going to screen your applicants for reliability and communication. You're going to do phone interviews. You're going to have 10 questions. You're going to have a red flag checklist that's what we use. And it's going to save you on the headaches. Okay. Believe me, trust me on that one. And then you do a trial clean before bringing anyone onto your team, right? So we want to make sure they can clean and clean the right way and do it well. The key thing is, I always say, always be Cruton. ABC, always be Cruton. So instead of saying like always be selling, it's always be Cruton, recruiting. Don't wait until you're desperate. Build a bench. Your business should never be one no-show away from crisis. And building the bench, it does work. Okay. So we have I can't even tell you how many people are in our ecosystem for house cleaning. And just because they didn't work out today or weren't available today doesn't mean they're not going to be available in 6 months. All right. So always be building your bench. All right. Now, let's talk about the 5 mistakes that can kill your cleaning business pretty fast. All right. So before we talk about the path forward, let me save you some pain here. There are 5 mistakes that I see kill cleaning businesses. And honestly, I've already made most of them. So let me go through these. Mistake number 1, treating your cleaners like employees instead of independent contractors. This is legal. This is a legal and financial disaster waiting to happen. If you don't do it the right way, you are going to be in trouble. You will be audited and you will have to pay fines. Okay. So that's the biggest mistake I see people make. Mistake number 2, only chasing one-time clients. You will burn yourself out. You really want to stack your recurring clients. Will it take you some time? Sure. Maybe not. Most of my clients started off as recurring, but as you get into like the seasonality of this business, you're going to get a ton of one times. Don't chase them. Please don't chase them. They're one and done and they're going to help you, right? They're going to add to your net profit, but just don't chase them. Mistake number 3, no backup cleaner system. One no-show should never cancel a client. Have a system in place to make sure that you have a backup cleaner system in your systems. Mistake number 4, competing on price. You're going to attract the wrong clients and train them to expect discounts. Compete on reliability and trust instead. Mistake number 5 is never building real systems. If you can't step away from this business for a week without it falling apart, you don't have a business, you have a job. All right, let's take a look at your 120 path to $10,000 a month. Okay, so day 1 through 30 is going to be foundation and your first client. That's the goal. 1 client by the end of the month 1. Day 31 through 60, you're building to 3 to 5 recurring clients and your operations are getting tighter. Now, I can tell you that me personally, I definitely had more than 3 to 5 recurring clients in my 30 days. Okay. But I hustled. I went out there and I reached out to my friends and family, my network, and I just told everybody that I had a cleaning business. So my guess is that you're going to be doing more than just 5 clients. Days 61 through 90, you're going to add B2B channel or a second acquisition source. Again, $0. We don't want to spend the money that you're bringing in right now in marketing. We want to do this all grassroots and organically. Day 91 through 120, you're going to push towards that 10K. So I want to be really honest with you right now. This is a realistic timeline, not a guarantee. Your results are going to depend on your effort, your market, and how fast you implement. But this is exactly what it can look like. And the blueprint is going to give you the week-by-week action plan to get there. All right, so let me show you what the business in a box looks like in case you haven't kind of gotten the idea that I sell the blueprint. And you don't need to. I want you to get success in the beginning. I have other mini courses that you can, watch and learn from. And then when you're ready, let's pull everything together for you to get you to be making 100 plus K a month. Okay. So you've seen the full framework. Now let me tell you what's inside our business in a box. It's a bunch of different modules, but module 1 is going to cover the business setup and your 1099 compliance, so you're protected from day one. Client acquisition system, all 3 channels with the exact scripts and the sequences that you need. Model 3 is hiring, vetting, and contractor management, including the forms, the interview questions, and the IC agreements. By the way, I've passed 2 Department of Labor audits using these exact IC agreements in my system, and I was able to pass both Department of Labor audits with no fines. Module 4 is automation, your tech stack, and how to run operations remotely. Number 6 is your business to business module, how to land the property managers and short-term rental host and long-term accounts. And then module 6 is going to be all about scaling and what it actually looks like to get to 10K a month and beyond. Okay. So if this is something you feel like you're interested, I'm going to leave the link below in the description. You can go and put your information in there. We will reach out to you and schedule a time to interview you and talk a little bit more about the business in a box. If this is not the right time for you right now, it's okay. We are just going to have you watch some other free stuff on YouTube and learn. All right, guys, here's to your success.